King 5's Chris Daniels is here with more on the returns. Also, what candidate Bernie Sanders is saying about the state of the race today.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest clearly from voters. Nearly 500,000 ballots have been returned in King County, and 78% of them were marked Democrat, 17% Republican, that according to King County elections. Statewide, those percentages are a bit different. It's about 62-35 on the Democratic side, with more than 1 million ballots have been returned. In fact, according to the Secretary of State's office, in just the last few minutes, almost 1 million ballots have been returned just on the Democratic primary. Already, all of these numbers surpassing 2016. While Donald Trump will take all of the delegates tomorrow on the Republican side, the Democratic side is still considered a toss-up. A King 5 News poll of statewide voters shows former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders in a dead heat. The poll, conducted in the 2 days post Super Tuesday, offers a glimpse at what has been a Biden bounce. The Vermont senator was leading in a previous poll of Washington voters, riding high after a February 17th rally in Tacoma. He's also in a fight in delegate-rich states like Michigan and dealing with new concerns. How has it impacted your campaign? Obviously, a slew of primaries on Tuesday. You're in Michigan right now. We're in Washington State. It doesn't sound like we're going to see you here. How has your campaign adjusted to the concerns over the coronavirus?
We are still holding our rallies. We just had a rally yesterday in Chicago with about 15,000 people. We had a rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I think we had 6,000, 7,000 people. But we are speaking to public health officials all over the country wherever we go. Bottom line is this coronavirus is a very, very serious issue.
How would you grade the state of this race right now? Why do you think it has narrowed?
Well, Biden did very, very well on Super Tuesday. He did well on Super Tuesday because the establishment managed to get two candidates out of the race before Super Tuesday, Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg. We have been taking on the establishment, the political establishment, who kind of trying to do everything they can to defeat us. We're taking on Wall Street and the corporate establishment, who are putting a lot of money into Joe Biden's campaign. But I think the good news for me is that now that we have basically a two-person race, the distinctions between Joe and myself are becoming clear.
Tonight at 6:30, we'll have more from our conversation with Bernie Sanders. We did make the same interview offer to Joe Biden. It does appear, according to our polling, our King 5 statewide poll, that early voters leaned toward Senator Sanders. And given the amount of early voting, as we just said off the top, that could be a good sign for him. But we'll have a good indication tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.